Hi, and welcome back to the three-part mini-series where I'm taking a look at Dorico's free version of their iPad app. And again, this is the third and final part of the video where I'm going to take you through adding the musical elements like articulations and dynamics, and we're going to go through how to make the score look good without having to mess with the engrave mode that is required with the paid version of the iPad app. And again, at the end, I'll show you how to add chords and multiple voices. And before we dive in, please check out my free music theory survival guide at joshring.com/free. It'll really help with your music creation. All right, now that you have your melody fairly well in there, let's start adding some musical elements. And again, on the left is kind of note elements. On the right, we have musical elements. So if we wanted to add dynamics, right, we could click on the note we want to add it to. And let's say we wanted, I don't know, like mezzo piano. We just click it and it'll add it. We wanted to have a crescendo, right? We could start there and hit our crescendo button. And if we wanted it to be longer, we could extend it as far as we would want. Or if we wanted to do the same kind of thing with a popover, let's say we'll go to the keyboard. Now we can type it in. And so when we go pull up our keyboard, we can just say, we're going to go to forte. And if we wanted our diminuendo after that, we could type that in. And we would need to select this kind of greater than symbol. Same kind of thing, we could drag it to extend it. However, let's say instead of dragging these, I'm going to get rid of them with this delete symbol. Select it and delete it. Just to show you some note selection options. So one option for note selection, if we just select in the measure, it'll select everything within that measure. So not necessarily selecting the note itself, one singular note, right, like we could. We're just selecting the entire measure. Or if we wanted to select a beaming, right? If I select the beam for these triplets, I could select the entire beam there. Another option, this plus symbol, it'll select individual notes that I select or measures, right? So this is like on a keyboard on a computer when you do control or command click to add multiple notes. Another option is to use this with the arrow, and that'll select everything in between. So if I go to the second measure and select that last one, everything now got selected in between. So this is like shift and click when you do it on the keyboard. So same kind of thing. If I now go into dynamics and I do a crescendo, it'll automatically make that dynamic the length of that selections. If I do that again and select all the way over here, if I do a kind of, with a popover, same kind of thing. I type it in. I have diminuendo for the length of my selection. Let's say I wanted to add slurs. So same kind of thing with this selection tool. If I go to the first note all the way to the end where I want to select it, and I can add a slur one of two ways. Over here I have this kind of leftmost pane. I can open up and add a slur here. Or if I still have the keyboard open, that's what this symbol is as well. So two places to add slurs. If I wanted to add, say, articulation, the same kind of thing. I could go to all the notes I want to have in articulation, and I can select the accent or the staccato, same kind of thing, whatever I want the articulations to be, which is easy if you want a lot of articulations in a row. All right, so let's say the end of our song is here. So when we're done to the end of our song, let's put some finishing touches on here. So if I go over here to bars, the end bar, I could type there, and if I just type in trim, it'll get rid of all the extra measures I had. So if I do that trim, right, now it's ended the melody where I had it. At the top I have some play controls. So if I hit play, right, and I can play from any position. So if I selected that note, I can hear it now. All right, so some powerful playback controls. Let's say we wanted to add in the name of our composer and the title of the piece. So up here at the top, right now it's entitled Project 8. So let's say instead we just want to call that our melody. Right? We could add a subtitle if we want, our composer. Personally, I like adding copyright to all my things, even if it's nothing grand and spectacular. So I have a little keyboard shortcut that turns the COPR into the copyright symbol. And then I can put in the year and always include your name with it. And you can do some type of all rights reserved. Right, so when you close it out, When you go back to page view, you can see it's added now the title of our piece, the composer. You might put by if you want, and it now has the copyright information at the bottom of the page all ready for us. All right, so let's say we really want to make it look as pretty as we can. All right, so one option we might want to do is get rid of this treble staff. There's only one instrument. I think we know what it's for. So we can go up here to the top right. These three lines is a menu. We can go down to our layout. Usually when you open it up, it'll look like this. With page size, you can change the overall size if you want, but I want to go over here to the staves and systems to get rid of that player name. So we're just going to go down to none for both of them because we don't want to show it on the first system and we don't want a shortcut on the others. So we'll just hit apply. If you want this for all of the music you do, you can even save it as a default. So when you go out, now you have gotten rid of it. Now it looks to me a little wonky, having just kind of two giant measures and then just all the other measures down here. So we can do what's called casting off. If you ever forget where a thing is located, if you open up your layout options, if you ever forget what a thing is called, you can always search for it up here. So that's what we might do here for called casting off. And if we didn't do the search method, right, we were just down under staves and systems, all the way from staff labels, we could just scroll all the way down until we got to casting off, but it's nice to search for it when you can. So this is a really nice option. How many bars you want per measure, we'll hit apply. All right, and you can see we're halfway there because it sometimes we'll do this wonky thing where the final system isn't all the way over like we might want it. So again, go over to layout options, and then you go into note spacing. And then down here at the bottom, only justify final system when flow is more than 50% full. You can change the system or the percentage, or you can just unselect it. So when you apply that, now you can see it's fully all the way over and it looks pretty nice. Just to double check we're ready to print, we can do 4-finger tap. So 4-finger tap anywhere in the page. It's hard to show, but 4-finger tap will bring it up the entire page. You can see everything is ready to go. One final touch up, the slur kind of looks awkward to me. So if we did want to change the properties of anything we've put in, if we go down here to the kind of column, the settings column, under slurs, we can change the direction. So instead of it forcing it on bottom, we can put it on top. We could even do some unique things with some of the slurs. All right, so once the music is ready to export, again, 4-finger tap will allow us to make sure we're all ready to go for that. Once we're ready to share it, we can click on this share button in the top right. All right, so then I would usually go down to PDF to share it as a PDF. And from here, you have all the options in the world with how you might share it. And for my students, this is a place to scroll over and find Canvas, and you can share it to Canvas like you often do. If you wanted to then add chords, that's what you could do with this chord symbol. So now there'll be this plus symbol next to the caret whenever we're entering in music. So let's say we wanted an F to be there as well. All right, so we could add in an F. Or let's say we wanted to add in a whole chord. The nice thing about having this chord button option is that we can select all of the notes that we would want to add at any given point. If we entered in the wrong note, again, you can move it up. Now you have your full F major triad. Make it a 7th chord. We'll spice it up a little. The thing to keep in mind is that whenever you have this chord symbol, to move it forward, because when you have one note selected, it'll automatically move it forward. You'll have to always hit this next button to select the next option. So another way to add in multiple notes, let's say we want to add a counterline here. So we'll make sure the chord symbol is now off because we want to have an entire separate voice. So that's what this plus symbol with 2 voices. So that's how you add in a second voice. When you select the second voice, you can select what voice you're going to add it to. So now you can see, is it going to be a down stem or a second voice up stem? So usually you have the down symbol because you're looking at this symbol here. Is it down? Or is it the second voice with the up symbol? So usually you're just going to have a second down voice. If I want to start with a quarter S, I'll select the quarter note first. I'll advance the caret by that amount. Now I can add in my counter line. Same kind of way that we would any other voice. So there you have it. There's how you can write in a singular melody line. And it's also pretty easy to add in multiple notes on the same staff as well. All right, thanks again for sticking with me through this 3-part mini-series. If you have any questions on Dorico, please let me know in the comments below. And again, don't forget your free music theory survival guide, joshring.com/free. Thanks, and have a great day.